Hey guys, this is Megan from You Go to Be Kidding. This week we are going over our milking routine, our milking setup down in the barn, the products we use, and everything you need to know to get started milking on your own homestead. So come with me, let me show you all the things we're using, and we'll get these goats milked this morning. Before I ever go out to milk, I get stuff set up in the house. So these 3 jars I take out with me in a cooler bag, which I'll show you as well. These 3 collect the milk after I milk it in the barn. And then I have these 3 set out for when I get back in to filter it. Often one of my girls only gives me less than a quart, but I like to take the half-gallon jar down to the barn in case they give me a little bit extra. So I have it set up, but if I need to change jars out, I do. And then this is my milking pail that I obviously take down to the barn with me. And I have a few other items as well, so I'll show you those too. So I also use this container. This is actually an insulated milk pail, but I found I didn't like putting warm milk into an insulated pail. I felt like it kept it warm. But what it does work great for is I actually put soapy water in here. You can't really tell it's soapy, but it is. I put soapy water in here, and then I take rags down to the barn with me. This is just some microfiber towels. I know that some people don't use microfiber, that's okay, but it works really well. I just use these that I got from Costco or something a million years ago. I take down enough for each goat and a couple extras because sometimes they're just super messy, but this works great. Then when I'm all done milking, I rinse out the pail and put the used cloths in my milk pail to carry it back up, and then everything gets washed for the next day. So this is the insulated bag I use to take the milk jars down to the barn and then keep the milk cool. So this is, I'm pretty sure this one is from Aldi. I know Trader Joe's has a similar size, but just an insulated bag, not like a full ice chest. So you can see it has some padding in here. And then I use ice packs. These ones off Amazon are an awesome size to fit across the back. And then I have a bunch of these little like lunchbox ones. And so I have it all surrounded. There's 2 lunchbox ones in between each set of jars here. There's some down here. And this keeps everything really cool. So as I milk each goat, I put them in a jar. Now we're milking 5 goats at the moment, so I actually put 2 in here. Maple and Wisty go together, Ivy and Cedar go together, and Tansy goes by herself. And that's actually based on taste. Ivy, hands down, has the best milk. It lasts the longest, and so we like to keep it separate. Tansy's, unfortunately, goes off the fastest, so we definitely keep hers separate as well. And Maple's and Wisty's is good. Good too, but quantity wise I need more than 1 jar. So this is what works for us. I do not put it all in one giant pail. I like to keep it separate in the mornings. Alrighty, so once we have everything ready in the house, we bring it down in the side by side. So I've got my thing here with the clean jars. I have my wash bucket and I have my milk pail, and we are down here at the goats. So the girls help me get them out. We'll grab the bowls off the ground and throw them in the side by side, and we lead these girls up. Now we just moved them back here. This is our back pasture where we cut down a bunch of trees, but the like sapling growth feeds the goats. The goats love it, so they are cleaning this area up for us, and it's really helping their health anyway. So we're going to get the ladies, we're going to take them up to the barn. After a few days, they totally get the whole system and they know right where to go. It's just a little distracting because there's so much good feed on the way up to the barn and the way back. So they always want to, eat on their way. Well, all right, I'm going to help these girls get them out and we'll get them up to the barn. All right, so this is our barn. It is awesome. It was here on the property when we moved in, and it's been a huge blessing. So we use different points throughout the barn to tie everybody up and separate them, because goats, they love to get into everything, and I prefer to milk with the door open. So this is the way our barn happens to be set up. Is we have 2 kind of horse-sized, donkey-sized stalls. and then a feed stall. So all my milking equipment is in the feed stall. And so then we just have this big open space. If we put all the goats in a small stall, they headbutt each other and fight, and it's annoying. And then the first stall we use for our chicken brooder, so we don't put anybody in there. So it makes it easier if we just have some leads. Normally we have one here, and then we hook up another goat on this side of this hay feeder. But a couple of our leads broke, so we have some on order. It will be a little better organized next week. Anyway, the dog hangs out with us. We do have this extra milking stand. We were originally going to kind of split up milking chores this year. We are doing 5 goats, and I thought that it might be easier to have a second stand, but honestly, we just used the one. So here is my actual setup. So this is our milking parlor. This is our feed stall. So we store our alfalfa and our grain in here. We have baking soda and our Redmond salt here. I use this bucket to sit, and this is our milk stand. And so it is well loved. It is not perfectly clean, but I do sweep it off, and every once in a while I will actually take some water and wash it off. But honestly, it's just for poopy goat feet. So it's no big deal. We use some scrap wood. We have 4x4 legs, a 2x4 frame, and then I'm assuming that's a 2x8. Some 2x8 tops. They were originally for some stairs we cut on top of them. And then the head gate is just 2x4s that we cut out, and we rigged up these extra pieces of 2x4 so our bowl hangs on this and it can't slide left and right, because the goats will totally slide it right off. We have extra feed bags. We use them for trash, and then when they get full, we take them out. Now, I intentionally made my stand the right height for me to sit on a 5-gallon bucket, and then 5-gallon buckets actually fit under it, which is super helpful. However, it's a little tall for our mini La Mancha goats. Not all of them will jump up on it. Some of them do, some don't. So we made a stool. It is super simple, just 2x4s and a piece of plywood, and it's just a step to get up there, and it actually fits under the stand so we can get it out of the way if we need to. Most of the time it just stay here. Now, because the way the stall is set up, this is the best position for our milking stand, and that means that I milk from the left. On occasion, the girls will slide the stool in and help me from the right. So our goats are mostly used to being milked on the left, but are comfortable with both. So whatever works for your barn and your setup is totally fine. The goats are going to get trained to what you do with them. So we feed organic alfalfa pellets. We actually get them from Azure Standard. So let's see. This is what we get. We found that they're a decent price. Coffee, it's a Kentucky organic feed place, is also nearby, but their alfalfa pellets are really powdery and the goats don't like it. So, and they're pretty far away for us for a pickup. Then we also feed this grain. We have a local place that grows all the grains and mills them on site that we use for our goats and our chickens. And we have been so happy with them. They are grown organically, but not necessarily certified. And that is okay with us. It's easier if you are on the other side of her. There you go. Jumps up. Put your head in, sweetie. That's a little closed. There we go. Now, this is one of our first fresheners, so she is a little hesitant, but she is doing a good job. All right, so when it's time for a new goat, I get them up on the stand. Then I get a rag, put it in my soapy water, squeeze it out. Okay. Then first thing is I actually wash my own hands, so I know they're good. And I then wipe off their udder. Oh, I'm making sure that I really get the teat, but I also like to get the whole thing. Maple, thankfully, is a very clean goat. She is usually super clean, which I appreciate. I also find that this little massage kind of helps bring the milk down. A couple of my goats, if I don't rub them well enough, it's really hard to get the milk out. But, all right. So once we clean them off, I'm all clean. I take my little cup, and this is my strip cup. So I do a couple squirts in here. And then I just checked that it's all good. There's actually some hay in here, but I'm looking for any discoloration or if it's stringy or something. And then I set this down for the cat, who always shows up because he is ready to go. And now it's time to milk. So I just grab my bucket and I get to work. Okay, so when I finish milking, I turn around and I open my bucket. I open my jar and I pour it in. And then the ice helps keep it cool and helps get it really cooled down. Part of the safe handling of milk is getting it cold as fast as you can. That really helps the flavor. So having this ice chest here makes it super simple. Clean hands, clean goat, clean pail into a clean jar. Sometimes barns can get messy and it feels a little gross, but my hands are clean. I clean off the goat. My pail is really clean and my jar is really clean. And that's what matters. Yes, the barn has dust and cobwebs and we do take care of those and we sweep those off and clean them off. But the milk itself is handled as cleanly as we can at all times. Alrighty, everybody is back where they belong. The goats are here. And Cole turned the fence on for us. But they're all here and we're done. So next up is when we get up to the house, then I will filter the milk and get it put away. All right, so I'm back up in the house. So I'm going to take my milk out of here and get it poured into these. So, all right. So this is my funnel, and then it has a ring, and I use paper strainers in here. So I changed the strainer for each goat, but the ring holds it in there. And then I like to pour down the center of the paper filter. Filter. And then between each jar that I bring in, I go ahead and I take this, I rinse it out and swap that filter out. All right, so these are the filters we use. I just order them online. I think Jeffers is the place that I get them the cheapest. So they are the 4 9/16 one. And just stick the next one in. All right, then I'll rinse the filter out and swap it and do the third jar, and that's it. So this is the milk I got out of actually 4 mini La Mancha goats. One of our goats is really struggling right now. She doesn't have a lot of milk, so we're trying to treat her and make sure that her worm load is good, and we weaned her baby off of her. So anyway, this is just 4 goats. This is Maple and Wisteria, our first fresheners together. So that is right at 6 cups. And then this is Ivy's. She is just under 5 cups. And Tansy, this is the most I've gotten in a while. This is 6 cups from Tansy alone. So it's such a killer. She gives us the most milk, but her milk flavor seems to go off the fastest. So we have to drink her milk first, and it's harder to use in cheeses and things. But 4 mini La Mancha goats, and we have a gallon of milk, which is awesome. All right, so the next thing up is we need to get our milk cooled. So we actually have an extra fridge in our dining room. So you can see my library behind me and the small extra fridge here. And I wanted to show you this system here. We're a little crazy, but it works for us. Like I've mentioned, our goats have different flavors. Well, that's not fair. Okay, so all the milk tastes excellent right now, but in a few days, the natural bacteria and sugars and stuff change in the milk, and Tansy's goes off the soonest. So we don't enjoy drinking her milk in a few days, so it's important for us to know which one is hers. So we use these little magnets on our metal canning jar, rings and lids, and that helps us keep track of whose milk is whose. All right, so this is what works for us. We have, I used a dry erase marker, so some of it's wiped off, but we just have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then we have our 3 groups, like the 3 jars. So Maple and Wisty are together. Ivy and Cedar, although Cedar has been really struggling lately, so I don't even have her milk. And then Tansy are here. So I just take one of each thing. Some of them are triangles and some of them are squares. And then I put them on the jar. So I know that this was Maple and Whiskey's. Tansy's always first. I keep them in the same order so it doesn't confuse me. And then today happens to be Tuesday. So I take the Tuesdays and I put those on here as well. And so then we know which ones are which. So then I go ahead and stick the jars in the freezer. And I need to make sure I get all these ice packs back here in the freezer as well. I just set those there. And I've got all these little lunchbox ones that fit right on my door. These were packs on Amazon. I will try to find the links for these. They were not expensive at all. I had been using just Ziploc baggies with ice in them, but it melts each time and then it like freezes to the shelf and it makes a big mess inside the bag because Ziploc bags leak. So this is our system here. We're all good. We set a timer for an hour, and in an hour we move it down to the fridge, or over to our main fridge in the kitchen. All right, so that is our whole milking setup, what we have in the barn, the equipment we use here in the house and to actually handle the milk. So I'll make sure to link as many products as I can, but we really try to keep it that simple. It has worked for us. This is our 4th year milking. I don't believe we've changed much at all, except those magnets. Those are new this year, and those are a huge help because it does matter to us whose milk it is. And that has been super easy. Then we're just using the canning lids and rings, which is super simple as well. So if you have any questions about getting started milking or what to use for your setup, I'd be happy to answer them in the comments. But I hope you're encouraged. It doesn't have to be that hard. It really is pretty straightforward. So I hope that you are ready to get out there and get started milking on your own. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.